And time to bring in our high school football pundit, Chris Smith, better known to the world, at least the internet world, as Top Dog 619. Chris, the season is officially over. Your general and overview before we get started.
Great season for San Diego football. We had a state champion this year. Had teams actually go up and play for state championships. A lot of great signees during the season. Some tragedy, some good stories. Overall, it was a great year for San Diego football.
Kudos. You said Kyle Phillips was going to stick to his UCLA verbal commitment. You were at 100% right.
Well, I mean, who doesn't want to go and play for Chip Kelly with the passing offense? If you're a wide receiver, that's a perfect fit for you to go up there to UCLA, join the Bruins, and play for Chip Kelly.
And yet, yesterday's early signing period, which we're going to get to in a moment, Chris Olave was wearing a Utah jersey standing next to Jack Tuttle. Should we read anything into that other than friends?
You know, I was surprised to see that he didn't sign on the early signing day. I know that Ohio State, USC, Utah, there's still some of the big schools on him.
I saw Ohio State sign a couple wide receivers, did they not?
They did. They brought in a couple wide receivers
Does
from
that mean
Nebraska.
He's out then?
They flipped them. You know, it's still up in the air. They still have until February 3rd to make their decisions.
All right, so we were talking about early signing day. It never ceases to amaze me around here, not only the quantity, but the quality of D1 commits we have every year, year and out. What were your I guess the big surprise comes out of Helix?
The biggest story that everybody's covering right now is the fact that San Diego State signed so many local kids. I mean, you got Carson Baker, Rashad Scott. All these kids that are from San Diego are going to stay home and play for the Aztecs. The biggest surprise, I would say, obviously we just mentioned at UCLA, commit who actually signed now, Kyle Phillips. That was a big one. And not really a surprise, but I was really happy that he stayed there with his commitment.
Baker's the surprise.
Baker is a surprise.
When we all went to bed that night, we thought it was UC Davis, right?
And, you know, he was going to come into the season next year. UC Davis coaches were talking about having him be the backup quarterback, getting early playing time as a true freshman. So it was kind of head-scratching to see him sign with San Diego State. But knowing Carson, he's always wanted to be an Aztec.
Baker is the most underrated quarterback in the county.
Okay.
In my humble opinion.
Okay.
But, hey, does talk about early signing day, good thing, bad thing?
Personally, I don't like it. I was a big pundit and supporter of this going into this year, but now the recruiting coordinators from all these different schools really put a lot of pressure on these high school kids to sign these contracts, saying things like, if you don't sign on the dotted line on December 20th, then you've lost your scholarship. I think it gave a lot of leverage to the NCAA and the colleges and took a lot of the leverage away from the kids. I don't like it at all.
Does it diminish February's signing day?
Well, at that point, it's kind of like who's left. So, yeah, I think it takes away from the history and the tradition of the one signing day. It diminishes a little bit.
You know what the argument, though, is now the small schools like San Diego State love it because Alabama can't come in and poach your verbal commits because they don't have enough time. They're all playing.
That's all speculation. We'll still have to see how that plays out. I know that there's going to be some Division II athletes now that actually get Division I offers, so it'll be good in that respect. But the pressure that they put on these kids to make a decision when they're really not ready, some of these kids just finished playing a week ago. So to make that decision, they really haven't had time to sit down with their parents.
There is a website. Have you heard of 8laces.org?
Yeah, Chris Four.
Yeah, it tracks coaching vacancies in the state of California, I believe. I counted just over 40 high schools are looking for football coaches. What's up with that?
Like I said, you know, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the season. High school football is changing. The old school coaches that believed in the coach says it, that's the end of the story. Those days are kind of over now. You've got all these extra trainers and handlers and all these people around football that you have to try to make things workable, and the head coach doesn't have the final say-so anymore. So I think some of the older coaches are having a little bit of struggle with that, and if they don't produce early, they're getting fired.
Mount Miguel and Mira Mesa have 2 vacancies.
Yep. So let's talk about Mira Mesa first of all. I don't know who is going to get that job first of all, but I do know that a former coach there, a guy that won a state championship here in San Diego, we're talking about none other than Chris Thompson, is probably, in my opinion, the leading candidate for that position. I know that he's really made it well known that he wants that job. Coach Morales, Coach Lomax, whose son plays at San Diego State, they got a pretty good program kind of put together if he gets that job. So I'd like to see that happen.
Okay.
Mount Miguel. Don't have much to say about Mount Miguel.
You know I know who's going to get both those jobs, right?
Well, now that you told me, yeah.
No, I haven't told you. Just clarify that. I haven't told you who, right?
No.
But
you told me that you know.
Yes, but we'll talk about that later. 'Tis the season of the All-Star Games. You have one coming, or you're affiliated with one coming up. Talk about that.
So two good friends of mine, Ruben Pena and Monta Allen, run the San Diego Friday Night Lights All-Star Showcase, where kids that are not the D1 athletes, but the Division II NAIA kind of kids are fighting for scholarships. This gives them an extra week of game film that they can actually showcase to these colleges and maybe earn a scholarship for college.
And it's a good game in that the kids want. They don't have to be begged to play in it. They want to play in it, right?
This is true. They're fighting for a scholarship.
So Montel and Ruben are going to be sitting there tomorrow. What's the question you want me to ask them? In fact, could you write the whole interview for me?
Well, if you want me to.
Okay, please.
Right.
What's the first question going to be?
Whose idea was it to start the first All-Star Showcase?
Why, am I sitting next to the person?
No.
Okay. Your favorite story of 2017?
Favorite story still...
Okay, before we leave the All-Star game, the Spanos game slowly fade away and all this?
Well, the Chargers left. Why shouldn't the Spanos game leave?
Well, because they're still playing in January.
Yeah, in L.A.
No, they also have one here, too, don't they?
What?
Don't they still play at Mesa this year?
What, the Spanos game?
Yeah,
but I'm talking about the Chargers. The Spanos family left San Diego.
So you think this game... All right, your favorite story of 2017?
Steel Canyon Cougars. They went out. They were an underrated team. I'll be the first one to admit I slept on the Steel Canyon Cougars. They went out. They won a championship. They brought a state championship back to Steel Canyon. That's my feel-good story of the year.
My favorite story of 2017 is this right here. Reggie Bush returning to the Silver Pigskin Gala after a 16-year absence. I think that was one of the cool moments of the 2017
That was
game.
pretty cool.
And then he came back, and when you get him...
Did you see that watch he had on, though?
Yeah. Man, I was intimidated. I was mesmerized by it.
Hey, I was just mesmerized. That's Reggie Bush, man.
How do you lift that wrist? All right, the worst story is still fresh in everybody's hearts right now.
Yeah, today, unfortunately, was a funeral of William Burton, the tragic two-sport athlete from Granite Hills. You know, it's good and bad, only because the Burton family has meant so much to the San Diego football community. It was really good to see the entire football community rally around that family, not just football, baseball, basketball, cheerleaders. We had athletes from all over the county show up at his candlelight vigil to support the Burton family. And it just goes to show you how much impact they had, and William had, and the family, on our entire sports community.
You know, my thoughts, and especially during the holiday season, is with that family and every family who suffers a tragedy of that proportion so close to the holidays. You know, Christmas is never going to be the same, and you just everybody out there keep them.
I'm still praying.
You're now going to be free of me for 200+ days.
A couple dog days.
What does Top Dog do during the off season?
Well, I just accepted an internship with a international corporation or a conglomerate of professional graphic designers. I'll be joining the Pick6.com in the off season, working with them. I'm also supporting a few 7-on-7 local teams here, and there's actual rumors that local high school coaches now are going to form their own 7-on-7 league. And if they do that, I will most definitely be a part of that.
And we want that to happen, right?
Absolutely.
So because we hate the outsiders coming in and poaching our kids. All right, so hey, just so you know, you were on our Christmas gift list.
Oh, well, you were on my Christmas gift list.
Well, yeah, but pull out the shirt.
Okay.
That's one of the fresh ones. So you get to wear that during the
I get a new one. I like that one. I like that one. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, that one's keep you dry in the winter.
Now, I know you're a Wisconsin fan.
I sure am.
So I just want to give you a Christmas gift from the Top Dog. I hope it fits.
This is a not so subtle shot.
That's a Big Ten champion hat. Ohio State.
He's taking a poke at me because. You know what? I'll send it to Chris Olavi in case he.
That's not a bad idea.
All right, that's it with Top Dog. Coming up in the 6 o'clock hour, Torrey Pines basketball coach John Alva is in to talk about the Holiday Classic. We'll have that conversation in just a bit. But right now, you're watching the commercial break between the 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. newscast.